Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
But I thought the turning point was just, we had an open shot.
I wasn't planning to do a video on this until Doc Rivers and Joel said what they said, because they must have set some sort of historical precedent right there, to where you have your own teammates and your own coach right after a loss in a tightly contested series to basically diss and throw you under the bus. I mean, seriously, in what world does your coach, the one who's coached you for the entire regular season, who's defended you many times in past occasions, to say that you're not a championship level point guard? And then for your own all-star teammate, your supposed partner in running, to say you basically messed up the whole game for them. But it gets worse.
Then Doc was asked, do you think Ben Simmons will be a point guard here next year? He said, I don't know the answer to that. Consider a position change.
I'm going to do what I got to do and work on my game to get better. I'm not really, that's not my focus right now. We lost game 7, so never let the highs get too high and the lows get too low. So for me, it's more work. Get my mind right and my body right next season, do what I can control.
This is Ben Simmons. While granted, I can imagine there's no easy way to answer a question like that, but the thing is, this method of answering, this deflective, this put it away and shelve it for later type attitude, is something that he's been doing for years. In fact, he just did it 2 games before that one when a reporter was directly asking him about free throws or something like that.
Hey Ben, you were at like 67% from the foul line before the All-Star break. Do you have any explanation for why your free throw shooting was dropped off like this?
No idea, but I need to get back. It's on me, so.
And this deflective attitude goes all the way back to 2017, when his issues first started cropping up and appearing, and teams were starting to exploit them. He was very reassuring, saying he would put in the work, saying that he would be ready.
It's not gonna happen for that much longer, I'm gonna
Stop the cap. It's quite interesting because every time you see Ben Simmons, you have that innate feeling that he's going to get better. From the time he entered the league off a broken foot and was already all-star level good within his 2nd season, it just seemed that he would improve and improve to become a future MVP of the league. Even LeBron James said so himself. And this is partially because he's been reassuring everyone that he's going to do so. And granted, of course, his passing and his defense are among top 5 in the league. His shootings, bottom 5 at best. In fact, his skills actually regressed to their absolute bottom, minimum, in these playoffs, to where in the Atlanta series he shot a 34.3% from not the 3-point line, not his field goal percentage, from the free throw line, something that Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal themselves were not able to accomplish. And then there's the horrific stat line that's honestly put on the screen. Where in the last 4 games of the series, he was not attempting a single shot in the 4th quarter, while not acknowledging, not this season, not the previous season, but the season before that he needed to take more shots.
Do you think in this situation with this team and who you are, you need more than 5 shots and some of them have to be from the perimeter?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't remember, Jared Dudley and Ben Simmons had some beef back in the day. Back when the Nets were still loved and the Sixers were still coming up and looking like they might win a title or something. But yeah, Jared Dudley had said something about his game, saying that Ben Simmons was average in the half court, but a great player in transition and, of course, on the defensive end. Which was 100% true at the time, but at the end of the day, you could just brush it off because you would imagine that Ben Simmons would only get better after that in the half court and work on his game and etc, etc. But the fact that such a statement still stands true 2 years later, and dramatically so, hints that there's something that we don't know about Ben Simmons. What's up, y'all? I'm KipKama11, and why is Ben Simmons like this? It was not supposed to be this way whatsoever. He was supposed to be a LeBron type player, a Magic Johnson type player, an MVP candidate, someone who would uplift a team rather than completely bring them down. Well, of course, it has to do with mindset. Now, to keep it 100% honest with you, the reason I didn't want to make a video on this was because I wasn't very well versed on the Sixers. For some reason, I don't find them a very interesting team, so I never followed them throughout the playoffs or even the regular season. So I had to do some research in order to make this video, and when I did, I stumbled across this. In this ESPN article written in April of 2020, it basically details how Ben Simmons sees both the outside and sort of the inside voices that speak about his game. And it is telling. Reading it, I was able to completely understand how Ben Simmons still ended up this way, and leads me to believe that his fate may well be sealed. The first bit of news that's incredibly crazy to read is he says that he needs someone else to hold him accountable. He has trouble holding accountable himself, which of course is a bad thing if you are trying to be an NBA superstar where you're operating at a level where there isn't much incentive to be better, to improve. Think Russell Westbrook. Even though he hasn't won a title, even though he has all this criticism about him, he is still making $500 million plus in his career and is playing the game that he loves. And you could say that for any fault of a superstar. No matter how much someone says about you, you're still a top 10 to 15 basketball player in the world. If you're comfortable, you can afford to be comfortable. The second thing is his mental state. Remember how Simmons said that he wanted to work on his mental, right?
You get my mind right, my body right.
Well, Simmons did agree to work with a sports psychologist, and there are many people, from his friends to his teammates to the staff, to try and instill, quote, the necessary impudence to get him over the hump. Which, funnily enough, is a mirror of what Doc Rivers recently said that he wanted to do with Ben Simmons, saying that he was going to work on his shot the right way and learn how to play the right way, quote unquote.
I know exactly what we want to do. I'm positive.
Something that is going to be ultimately, if history shows correctly, going to be futile. Another tough quote from the article concerning Joel Embiid explicitly trying to get Ben Simmons to expand his game. We've had conversations, especially when it comes to shooting, Embiid says. Ben can help me a lot. I feel like I've helped him a lot with his game. People keep saying, oh, you need to stop spending so much time on the three-point line. But I do it because Ben is such a good driver going to the basket that I've got to help open that up for him. I would like if he would do the same for me, to start shooting threes. But I also know how uncomfortable he is with it. Uncomfortability is the main crutch, the bane to Ben Simmons' progress. He's one of the most skilled athletes in the world, getting paid $170 million plus and is afraid to be uncomfortable. Later on in the article, Simmons tries to deflect this and tries to put it off. Some people put so much emphasis on it, Simmons says. It's a little too much. It made me back check and say, let me focus at what I'm good at. There are things I do on the court where nobody can stop me when I'm putting up steals, assists, and scoring in the paint. 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 Oh, this is gold, bro. Oh my goodness. Things that he wasn't able to come up with in this 2021 playoffs. He was saying in 2020 that he needs to focus on what he's good at. Ben Simmons is insecure in some type of way. I don't know what that may be. I don't know where it stems from. But the fact that you diminish a huge problem that you have, the biggest glaring and gaping hole that you have in your entire basketball profession, you diminish it and want to work on other things of which you shy away from when the time really counts. He then goes on to say, I feel like I want to take threes now, as opposed to being asked to force them up. It could be during the playoffs. I've prepped so much for it. When I do it, it will work. He then proceeds to say he wants to shoot threes, but I don't want to force them up. Ben Simmons, who would make Rajon Rondo blush with the amount of space that he gets from the three-point line, did not wish to at this time force up three-pointers for no other reason other than when I do it, it'll work. These are all signs of someone who's incredibly insecure into reaching out and being looked at as different, possibly ridiculed or anything else. And there's yet another quote that all but confirms that. And very ironically, I want to be a shooter who shoots 40%, not 30% from three. In the 2020-21 season, Ben Simmons attempted 10 three-pointers. Of those, he made 3. Now, you could say that this stuff about insecurities and not wanting to expand out and all of this different stuff doesn't have any merit because I don't necessarily know Ben Simmons myself. Why not take it from his very own college coach, who he proclaims to be his favorite coach of all time? I keep telling him, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. You're one of the best players in the world. You're dating a supermodel. So if you struggle and start out 1 for 20, so what? He's got to get past, I don't want to read people saying I can't shoot. Well, right now they're saying you won't shoot, and that's worse. Ben Simmons has been already talked to death, and for good reason. He went from one of the brightest potential stars in this league to someone who next to no one has any hope for anymore. He went from the next LeBron to potentially a 6'10 Draymond Green. And at the end of the day, it all stems from one core root problem. He's too afraid to show out, so he shrinks away. He deflects. He remains stagnant. He wallows in his positives and forgets about his negatives, but he doesn't want to get better. That is, indeed, the travesty of Ben Simmons. Thanks for watching.
You got time. Who do you play tomorrow?
Hawks.
There you go. You got plenty of time.